Hey, this is Daniel from Adorama Pro. Today on set we were doing some Hollywood-style glamour portraiture. We've got cadence here, and I have some Arri lights set up. I'm going to walk you through the process of how we do this. So these Hollywood-style 40s, 20s, all the way back style portraits were made with movie lights, so that's what we're going to start with. These Fresnel-style lights, like this Arri, as you can see here, this has got a lens in the front. The lens on the light is going to allow me to get nice smooth coverage. If you use like an open face light, then you get a hot spot and it kind of breaks up really quickly. This is going to give a nice smooth coverage, so it's nice for the skin tone. And these kind of portraits are always done with a hard light source. So it's about a 3-inch front on this, I believe. It's a 300-watt light. This is going to give us a nice hard punchy light, and then we just have to position our model so that it benefits her skin tone the best. So I have it on a C-stand here so I can kind of boom it up over top of her. I'm going to start here. So I'm just using the bare light to start with. Whenever you turn on one of these lights, you want to kind of put your hand in front of it so you don't blind your model, and say, I'm going to turn my light on. Boom, that way she knows. And basically we're here. So this is equipped with barn doors so I can shape the light as I need to. We're only shooting about, head here to here on her, so I'm not worrying about that too much. I'm mostly going to use the barn doors to add diffusion if I feel like I need it. So because my light source is above her, if we look at her now and she's looking straight ahead, you've got kind of this nice light shaping her face, and you've got shadow falling down. I'm going to just direct her to bring her up so that she's exactly where she needs to be, which she's pretty good and she's already done that. So I'm going to shoot at f8. That's always a good place to be, f8, and be there, I guess, right? And here we go. We're going to go for another shot. Good. All right, and that's pretty good. Now you can see where there's no light, it's very, very dark and shadowy. So I've got a few different options. One really standard thing to do would be to throw a fill light on her opposite side, but I like to try to add a hair light first and see how that looks. So over here in the back I have an Arri 150, so it's the same kind of light, a Fresnel light, but it's 150 watts, so it's a little bit less powerful. And essentially, I'm going to bring this in, and I'm going to use this. It's also on a C-stand. I'm just going to bring this in to kind of cut her out of the background. This is going to give her a 3-dimensional shape. I'm using the barn doors here to control where the front of my light falls. And I'm just going to try to not get it. Typically with the hair light, you wouldn't necessarily want to get it at all on the front of her, but because I might try to get it with 2 lights here, I'm going to let it fall a little bit on the front. As long as it doesn't hit her in the tip of the nose, we should be okay. Can you bring your chin up in a little bit? There, that way I can see where it's going to fall. All right, that should be good, I think. Okay, stand by. Just do this. I want to get a little bit on her shoulders. I'm going to use the barn door to cut it off. Good. All right, let's take a peek. So first I'm going to observe with my eyes, because I'm using hot lights. That's really nice. I can actually just kind of look at it and see what it looks like, and it looks pretty good to me. Now the true test will be the camera. Good. See, to my eye it looked pretty cut out, but here I think it's still a little bit too dark there. So there's 2 things I could do here. The first thing would be to move the light in closer or switch to a more powerful light, or I'll go to stage 2, which I was going to do anyways, and add a little diffusion to my front light. Diffusion is great because it helps bring down your highlights, and when you have somebody who has very fair skin like Cadence, it's nice to have a little diffusion on your source. So I do have some spun here. This is a light spun. So it's going to do 2 things for me. The diffusion is going to cut down the highlights, so kind of neutralize a little bit, and also it's going to lower my exposure a little bit. So I'm going to, I think, double it up. Yeah, it looks pretty good to my eye. And what I want to be careful about doing is I don't want to just spread it all out like this, because it's going to make my source larger, which will make it less hard. I want to keep it soft, so I'm going to make sure my diffusion stays pretty much within my barn doors. And I'm just going to clip it on here with these clothespins. And I think that looks good. Let's take a peek. Okay, that's good. Now I know I lowered my exposure, so I'm going to come back over here and open up my lens a little bit. Yeah. So now we've got the light fully on her face. Her hair's lit up nicely. Because we're going for this kind of Hollywood glamour style, I like this really deep dark shadow under her chin that we have. If you don't like that, you can certainly fill it in, or we could lower the light slightly. Just to show you what it would look like filled in, I'm going to kind of cheat here. I have this light that's been lighting me the whole time, and I'm just going to kind of point it in her direction. This is essentially a really kind of traditional, way to fill. I'm going to come in from basically the opposite side of the camera, of the key light, and I'm just going to fill it in. Again, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. This, by the way, is through a scrim panel, so it's kind of nice and soft. And we're gonna look. Good, good. Yeah, there we go. So now you can see we kind of filled it in. That way you have your detail in there if you want. You can always crunch the blacks later in post, so if you are nervous about how you want it to be, you might be safer to shoot this way. We've definitely got detail in her shadows, and we can always make it darker in post. That's easy enough to do. If you kill your shadows and you have way too much contrast, then you're gonna have a lot more work to do in Photoshop later than keeping it flat when you're shooting. Okay, so that's really a quick run through of kind of Hollywood glamour style portraiture. Remember, hard light sources, nice shadows to give shape to your subject, and of course you want to kind of glam up the makeup and stuff too to really work with the effect. Let me know what you think. Leave some comments below. Be sure to subscribe to Adorama TV, and I'll see you next time on set.